Go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first episode of, well, we haven't really, the show doesn't have a proper name yet. The channel has a name, but the show doesn't have a name yet. We're coming up with one. Joining me is, of course, the other half of the wrestling channel, Mr. Delta. How are you doing?
We're doing well. How you doing today, Fratanga?
Well, that's a very nice Steam Deck you got on your hands right there. Is that the OLED model?
Sir. Yes, sir, it is.
That does not look like the OLED model. You're lying to me.
No, come on now. I got it this weekend. What are you talking about?
You've been playing the new AEW game on that thing?
Yes, sir.
You're the only person playing. I was wondering.
Me and five other people are playing.
I was looking at the player count. I was like, this has to be Delta.
Actually, let me look that up. Actually,
I was thinking about trying the AEW game out just for the shits and giggles, but
here's a tip. Don't.
Here's the neat part. You don't.
There's 47 people playing it. Oh man.
47. How many are playing Forspoken?
That's a good question. I gotta look that up actually.
Look it up. Look it up, dude.
Oh my god.
Do that while I load up a bong. Well,
Guys, 47 people still playing this game. That's insane to me.
Yeah, 47, but I want to see how it fares compared to actual, like, really bad games, you know? Because it's nuts. Any update on Forspoken?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Alright.
66 people are playing Forspoken. So that's to tell you right there, you're really messing up.
God damn! Like, I don't understand. How do you have a video game that features, like, some of the most, like, recognizable wrestlers in the world, and it's not taken off? I don't understand. How isn't there an indie pro wrestling game that's got more numbers?
What's that one that JD from New York's working on? Didn't he have that one that came out recently?
Oh yeah, JD is working on a game.
He did work on that
Everybody's
game. Everybody's
working on a game. Top Pets, JD, Alex Jones, but not me. You know what? It's time I became a game developer so I can shut down all critics, Delta.
That's right.
But anyway, this is not an AEW bashing channel yet. So we're not making it about AEW. Tonight was WWE's Survivor Series X War Games. War Games, as Mr. Sir William Regal would say. And honestly, overall, it came out a bit better than I was thinking. It was not as good as War Games last year, though. Don't get it twisted. War Games last year was insane. But this year was all right. The matches weren't bad, you know. I actually thought for a bit, I was like, okay, this is tolerable. I'm not cringing out 24/7. Not bad, WWE. Not too fucking bad. But, you know, like, I think, should we just get the elephant out of the room? The big thing that happened at the pay-per-view, or should we just...
Do you want to talk about that now? I figured we'd lure the audience and draw them out for the next 30 minutes.
They're all here for CM Punk. I mean, why are we lying to ourselves?
Our first episode, we got to get the viewership, man. Come on now. Draw it out.
Dude. All right, we'll get the elephant out of the room. All right?
Yeah, let's get the elephant out of the room.
The biggest reveal at the pay-per-view, well, I mean, quote-unquote reveal, many had predicted it. Others were super sour, wishing it would have happened to Mr. Tony Khan.
Tony Khan is probably looking to get rid of Jack Perry as we speak.
What are you talking about? Tony Khan's like he's Booker of the Year, Delta.
Not anymore, he ain't.
Booker of the Year, remember, man. So good he booked CM Punk out of the company. But anyway, he shows up in the company he said he would never return to. And now here we are, Mr. Phil Brooks returning to Chicago with a decent pop, actually. I was expecting the pop to be a bit louder, honestly.
I think they muted the crowd. I think that pop was loud as hell, because you look at anyone that has a recording of it, it is loud as hell. It's inaudible half the time.
My friends at Wrestling Soup, go check them out, Wrestling Soup. Thank you, Anthony Missionary Thomas, Joey E. Numbers, John Draper. But Mr. Anthony Missionary Thomas was actually at the Chicago event. He actually went because he lives in Chicago, and the arena's like 5 minutes away from his house. And he still had to face traffic.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Chicago traffic's as bad as it is. It's terrible
Yeah.
over there.
And he said the roof was blown off. Video footage doesn't do it justice. Audio, he said, was all over the place. Like, certain fans would start CM Punk chants, and certain fans would try to mitigate that by saying CM Punk sucks, and then, you know, but it's not like NFL fans where people started, like, beating the shit out of each other in the audience, right? So, no. Wrestling fans are weak, thank God.
Thank God.
Thank God. They're right up there, right next to gamers. I don't know. I've seen more buff gamers than wrestling fans, though, to be real with you. Goddamn, Frit, do you like wrestling? Yeah, of course. But I also like making fun of it. Anyways, yeah. So what did you think? What did you think of the return? Was it exactly what you predicted? Did you think it was gonna happen today? Or did you think they were going to pull one on us and just trick all of us, and that's how the show was going to go? Because all of us watching were convinced that was it. Some were already leaving the call, and then...
Really?
and everybody came back into the call, and they're like, what? I was like, yeah, bro. Yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
I couldn't believe it, honestly, because, like, I mean, like, I saw I posted that quote tweet last night. I expected no return at all, because in my opinion, story-wise, it made no sense to have him show up at all. Like, yeah, there was some stuff out of pocket outside of WWE that, like, there was mentions, and, like, WWE was kind of teasing little snippets, little teases of CM Punk in there, and wrestling Twitter was, like, trying to hype it up, and I'm just sitting there like, you guys have hyped this up numerous times before in the past almost 10 years at this point. I'm just done at this point, and, like, if I see Phil Brooks returning at all, it's going to be the Royal Rumble. I don't see any other reason why, story-wise, for him to come back right now. But, you know, I can give WWE credit. They did a great job keeping it under wraps and really pulling something off. Because, like, everyone was kind of like... I remember, like, leading up to the Survivor Series itself. Everyone was saying, like, oh, it's the worst-kept secret. Randy Orton's back. It's the worst-kept secret. And everyone was like... And, like, everyone was focused on Randy coming back. And I felt like a lot of people thought with them announcing Randy on Monday... Everyone was thinking, like, well, that just curbs the idea that CM Punk's coming back. Because, like, letting you know, heads up, it's Randy, it's not Punk, it's not going to be anyone else that's going to show up. And then to see him just come at the end was just like, I could not believe it. You know, and people could argue and say, like, he's a bit of a hypocrite to come back after making all those comments. But, you know what, Phil Brooks has got to live with that decision coming back. You know, that's his decision, what he wants to do. But as a wrestling fan, I'm really excited to have him back in WWE.
All I can say is that man is going to help make a lot of people backstage money.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to help them make a lot of money, especially a lot of the young upcoming talent. So to see some people upset he's back, the salt. Yes, there's wrestling salt, plenty of it. It was whoop, but the best part is it's coming from the talent.
There was a lot of old talent that's out of WWE that's really voiced their opinion on a lot of things. Now, it's funny to watch.
Now, in your personal opinion, did you feel like CM Punk, like, I agree with everything you said there, right? Why is CM Punk showing up? What does he have to do with any of these assholes, you know? He's coming out at the very end, almost kind of just feels like last-ditch effort, you know, whatever. But do you think that undermined Randy Orton's return a bit? Because, like, Randy's return was a little weird itself. Like, he wasn't in the cage.
Well, that was weird. That was the whole thing. That's what I was, like, pondering, like... At first, I was thinking, like, why are they playing this angle that, like, Randy's not there? We don't know if Randy might show up now. And I'm sitting there, like, listen, I like how you guys are trying to, like, basically equate, like, Randy Orton to, like, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like, he might not show up. I'm like, what is going on here? Like, he'll still show up. Like, you guys are trying to play, like, this Stone Cold Steve Austin angle here. Like, I don't know. He's this rattlesnake. He might not show up. But he's a viper. He might not show up now. You know, so it was really weird. Like, why are you playing this angle? Like, especially the last minute like this. It's really weird. It felt like they were trolling the audience. It felt like they were trolling the audience the whole time.
It didn't make the match feel more intense because I knew he was still coming out, right?
Oh yeah.
Now
I knew he was coming.
What had me on the edge of my seat was, like, is he gonna actually play heel though? Is he gonna turn on his whole team?
I thought he was. I thought he was gonna turn on his whole team,
and that would have, like, ruined the whole thing. And then maybe CM Punk comes out to stop Randy Orton. But then that would suggest those two would have a rivalry, and we've seen that plenty of times.
Exactly.
So it's Man, booking is not actually that easy when you look at it, is it? It's like, how do you
It's
book?
not the book.
How do you?
I don't know. I don't know how Hunter does it. I don't know how Hunter's doing it, but I got to give him props where credit is due on this one. Most part, he's been doing a lot better job with the product lately because under his leadership versus Vince was doing. Vince was so inconsistent with a lot of this stuff. That's why a lot of people were turned off by the old product.
Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, AJ Lee, I think is gonna follow suit. I think we're gonna see her at Royal Rumble.
There's already talks on social media. People want her back. If Phil Brooks can come back, why not have AJ Lee?
Now all we need is Ryback back.
No, Ryback can stay retired at this point. He can stay retired. He can claim he's not retired from wrestling, but he's retired from wrestling.
That guy is so dumb, Ryback. He's literally a meathead. I've met some meatheads in my life, but Ryback specifically. Let's bring up the tweet, shall we? Okay, because I think what made this return so monumental, other than the we never thought it would happen. And by the way, to answer one of the questions you brought up, you were wondering, like why here, why now? And I'm thinking, well, they just had to blow their gun at Chicago, Like if they're gonna do it, I mean, I would have had it at WrestleMania,
Pull a Cody Rhodes kind of deal, like as a big surprise.
Yeah,
kind of deal.
like a huge surprise CM Punk.
But the thing is, the way they're going with it seems like that's the night one of WrestleMania with Rollins is probably going to be the case, most likely. I mean, that's what I would picture now, especially with the whole back and forth with Rollins and with Rollins making comments leading up to prior to the night, saying like he considers Phil Brooks a cancer, doesn't want him back in the WWE. Like he was like shooting for that out of pocket stuff in the hopes maybe Phil Brooks would come back. I think that's gonna be night. I think that's gonna be night one.
Yeah, so. No, I have the audio bit of Rollins saying all of that, which I'll play for people in a bit here, in the edit. But yes, I think Rollins, because the biggest thing that came out of this, this is where the salt, I would say, started. People were saying it is Rollins' reaction to Punk's return. So Punk, basically, he came out to Cult of Personality, which, by the way, was featured again on the WWE playlist, right? Yeah. So like already the signs were there that Punk was coming back just off of that. And
I honestly would have loved it if he came back with his old music before.
Dude,
I think that would have been really. I think the Chicago crowd would have lost it. I think This Fire Burns would have made the Chicago crowd lose their fucking mind even more than they did that night.
I always see Cult of Personality fit Punk for that, for his whole anti-authority thing going on. The whole storyline, the pipe bomb, it fit perfect. But before that, I always thought This Fire Burns was a badass entrance.
It is.
I mean, I listen to it when I'm biking with my husky. We're just biking and going far, and I'm just listening. This fire burns. It's fucking, that song kicks ass. I mean, so that would have been cool to see him return with it. But I think he's made a name for himself off of the Cult of Personality theme. But we will see if he's really the voice of the voiceless this time around, because clearly, the WWE has plenty of voices now. The WWE has changed a lot since Punk was gone. So I want to bring that up is I think that's also part of the reason Punk came back. I know Punk hated Hunter, but he knew Hunter would be better running this company than Vince. But I mean, the pipe bomb is the pipe. That was all like, him insulting Hunter. But like, deep down, this guy was like, I would rather work for Hunter than be under Vince McMahon's creative control any day.
I think time heals all wounds. I think, people change over time. And obviously with Hunter now running the show and not Vince, the product clearly shows that a lot of things have changed. And even though with Bill Brooks going and leaving, because of what he did, a lot of things have changed because of what he said and what he did. Yeah. So, people have a lot more leeway.
The company, I would say the company treats its employees not just far better. I would say WWE treats its employees like goddamn kings now compared to back then. I mean, especially with, the Sasha Banks, how many chances Baron Corbin and Ziggler were given, This company is actually, McMahon is a lot more merciful than people really seem to realize. they coined the phrase "you're fired," but Vince is a more down to earth guy, and he really does like kind of view the roster as family kind of thing, and he looks
Now,
he looks out
you have
for
to
them.
confirm though.
Huh?
We have to confirm though. This whole thing with Punk coming back has nothing to do with Vince, though. Has
No,
nothing. They
no,
already
no,
confirmed that.
no,
They
no,
confirmed
yeah.
that today that he has nothing to do with Vince at all.
No,
Like
no, no,
it's
no,
all
yeah.
Hunter on this one.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with Vince at all. I'm pretty sure Vince himself is pissed off about the idea because I think to Vince, Punk was like the what do they call it? The prodigal child. Like he left and then he came back, and Vince is like, I hate it, I think that's the way Vince views it. Because I know, like, backstage these people like treat each other semi like family, but Punk does, Punk has a chip on his shoulder. Punk is a bit of a prick. I don't think we can deny that, but he is talented.
He definitely speaks his mind.
He's talented as fuck,
mind.
though. All right, if there's anything about Punk, and no one can deny, it's that he's talented, and he will help elevate the company. And the company is just right now. WWE, I think, is doing just fine. I mean, yeah, it has its fucking cringe moments, but you have your big stars, right? Like big stars for this company right now. You got LA Knight, you got Roman Reigns, you got fucking Gunter, you got Cody Rhodes, you got CM Punk, you got Brock Lesnar. It's just you got Randy Orton, and John Cena's back for I don't know how. Oh no, he walked off again.
He walked. He said, "Yeah." Hollywood's the actor strike's over. He's back to work now. He's back there now.
He was bored. Cena was only back in SmackDown because he was bored.
Yeah, you gotta keep him busy somehow.
Yeah, no. And plus, like, WWE's, I mean, it's been a crazy year for this company. And to finish it off, snagging Punk was the perfect way to do it. I mean, this company bled a lot this year, but also earned a lot this year. With like Bray Wyatt passing, the amount of people leaving, and then the amount of people that were gaining. So much happened. And yeah, like I said, to end it off with Punk was the perfect way for WWE to basically, I guess, compete like AEW wanted them to compete. And it's kind of brutal, though. I'm thinking, who over there is going to be able to match this caliber of talent now? I think MJF is that breakout star who's got the potential to match a Punk in the future. MJF has MJF
bright future.
He could have the world in the palm of his hands. He's just really young right now.
And like for all we know, I mean, from what I'm hearing, it's a multi-year deal with Punk. We could
right?
see it.
Wasn't it 3 years?
At least 3. I think it's at least 3 years right now, I believe, from what I've been hearing the reports. And it could be longer for all we know. And we could potentially see MJF come to be eventually, and we could see the continuation of their back and forth with AEW continue on with WWE. So who knows how that goes? And then, so you got to make it a perspective of things of the current product of WWE. The fact that we went like a good amount of pay-per-views without Roman being there, like, is like the main headline, and still having full sold-out shows, and like the product is still red hot, basically, because you have such a star-studded cast. Because Triple H actually does focus on the other people outside of just the bloodline, and so it shows in the product right here with this current card we have here tonight. No one on the bloodline outside of Jey Uso is there.
Holy shit! And yet, Solo Sikoa's not there either, huh?
There's none of them are there. No storyline from the bloodline is involved in this whole thing. Mm-hmm. So, but it still was a sold out show. It still blew off the roof, and like you have nothing to do with the Undisputed Championship. So that shows you right there. The product is great right now, and it's been like the greatest in quite some time. Mm-hmm. So, and under Triple H's leadership, I can see it even going better than it is currently right now. So.
I got a friend. Well, I have many friends like this. You probably do too. I don't know, but you got those friends who be like, "Wrestling's gay, wrestling's gay." Like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You just hang your head. You're like, I know, but these belts are kind of cool, and I'm gonna buy them anyway. Delta, you specifically, the belt you got. Holy shit!
I'm holding it right now.
Delta. And shout out to Monty for creating the art on this channel.
Yeah, shout out to Monley for great
Yeah.
artwork
So
on
thank
this.
you. And he's been watching the wrestling shows with us too. Monley is just gotten into wrestling. He's starting to like it. He watches it with his girlfriend, who's actually been watching it since she was a child. That's how long I've been watching it, right? So
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, like, if you're a wrestling fan, you know what the payoff is, and that's just staying a wrestling fan for years, I guess. That's the payoff. You just get to see cool things come and go, and this is monumental to us wrestling fans. Punk being back home, as cringe as that sounds to say, home, it is really nice. I'm like, I can't wait to see who he rivals with, and Punk should have never left wrestling.
No.
I think he could have been on Mount. I mean, he's already going to be on the Mount Olympus of wrestlers, but he could have been there a while ago, sooner had he stayed wrestling. And I think honestly, if he would have kept just putting up with the bullshit backstage politics, nothing would have changed for the company. I think he was the change, like you said. He helped change a lot. Like when they lost Punk, they're like, well, we can't have another blunder like that. So, they did. I mean, it looks like Triple H was the bigger man and did right by him, and I think Punk has had a lot of time to mature. If there's anything that I noticed about Punk's maturity was that it's changed over the years. He doesn't seem he doesn't seem to make it so much about himself anymore, but like, remember when that whole stunt happened at AEW backstage?
Yeah, let's get into that. It's like I really think the main thing, time will tell how things Phil Brooks operates now that he's back at WWE, because I think WWE just won't put up with that kind of crap that happened with the press junket back at after him and Hangman had that match together. I think that kind of crap just won't be tolerated from Phil Brooks. But I also think compared to AEW, I think there's a lot more structure in WWE, and I think management just won't put up with that from any type of talent, not just from Phil Brooks, anyone. And they'll just tell them you need to work with each other and do business no matter what. Otherwise, you'll be basically put down a peg or two. So, and I think versus like the elite members, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks that pretty much did not want to work with the guy. And it shows in the product right now, especially with Collision. Collision's been pretty weak ever since Punk left. It's just, these guys didn't want to work, and management will tell this, like people like Seth Rollins, that if he does have a problem with him, if he does, I mean, I think it could be just a work, but if he has a problem with him, he's going to tell Triple H, is going to tell Seth Rollins, you need to work with him and do business no matter what. So we'll see, but like, time will tell. Time will tell.
I know, yeah, and I know a lot of people view him as a cancer. I know a lot do, because the way Punk has, like you said, speaks his mind. He really he pisses people like me off too, And I'm a fan of his work, and he still pisses me off with what he says sometimes and his elitist attitude. But sometimes you wonder to yourself, is he working me in real life? It's like, you working me off the clock. Because wrestlers do that too. They work people off the clock. Paul Heyman was a genius at it. He wasn't a wrestler though.
Paul Heyman's one of the greatest minds in wrestling ever. And in my opinion, he should be in the in WWE Hall of Fame this year when they go to Philadelphia. I think he should be there. So
anyway,
but yeah.
So with that being said, I'm almost ready to move on from the whole Punk return thing, but let's run down people's reactions to to CM Punk's return. Well, specifically talent. The talent that works at these companies, for these companies, these wrestlers. The best one of my favorite ones to come out of all of them was Matt Riddle's. Matt Riddle on Twitter said, "Hey, at WWE, you thought I was..." Oh, wait, sorry. "Hey, at WWE, brah. You thought it was hard to deal with, brah. Have fun with 0-2 at CM Punk, brah." Salty! So salty! Listen, Matt Riddle, I feel bad. I kind of feel bad for Matt Riddle, because he had substance abuse issues, daughter issue or kid issues, But like it is absolutely hilarious. It's like Matt Riddle of all people having a problem with CM Punk. Have those two ever had an interaction?
I don't think so, but like again, I think Matt Riddle is basically put himself in his own situation where he's at right now in life. So
Oh, he's a
I think he
party
has no one to
guy.
blame for himself.
He's a party guy. You know, he likes to party and shit. But the problem with
Yeah,
wrestling is it requires you to be cognitive and focused. If you're fucking fucked up and you're running on the top of a cage, you're gonna die. You know. But anyway, I mean I don't know I couldn't get into Matt Riddle's character in WWE. I mean, well, except other than the weed gimmick, I guess. But he never even really said anything about weed. He just came out on a little scooter and he got his ass kicked all the time. That was his gimmick. And then he partnered up with Randy Orton, which elevated him. But I do not know of a single circumstance where Matt Riddle and CM Punk ever had an altercation, interaction of any sort. Not that
maybe during his time at UFC, maybe his UFC time. I don't know. I can't imagine other than that.
You know, I have to kind of Google this now. Matt Riddle, CM Punk. Did those two ever meet? Maybe in the UFC. You said yeah. Let's see. He just criticized the decision, but it's like, do you really know Punk, Matt Riddle? You know what I mean? Like the people, like it's bizarre. I don't know. Like if these two do have beef, if Matt Riddle, like maybe Matt Riddle's basing it all off of everything he heard, but it's kind of bizarre. It's like unless you're someone who's had an altercation with Punk, to just like hop on the bandwagon of we suddenly hate Punk in this company. It's like motherfucker, you never even met the guy, you know. So you don't know if you're gonna like him or not. Undertaker didn't ever actually have a problem with Punk. That was all made up internet shit. Other than the belt, the whole belt thing. But anyway, so yeah, so that was his reaction. And then the other reaction I loved was Ryback's. Who I have right here actually. Hold on 1 second. Ryback said, fucking hell, here we go. If at CM Punk returns tomorrow, I will officially retire from pro wrestling. Also, check out my FMN Nutrition Black Friday sale, 30% off. God damn, Ryback is desperate for that money. The only thing he ever did with his life was have like the shortest Goldberg run, like WWE's version of Goldberg in the mid 2000s. That was it. Yeah. And this guy.
The funny thing about it is too, if you look up to, I'll send this to you. If you look back at this little clip right here, Ryback, it says like CM Punk will never return to WWE. This is 2 months ago, by the way, and Ryback's such a softie. He's actually disabled the like and dislike ratio. That tells you everything you need to know.
He did? He disabled the like and dislike ratio. Oh my fucking god, dude. That is hilarious. Who's this? Yeah. Oh, here's Gareth. I don't know who this Gareth guy is, but it's like most overrated wrestler, CM Punk. Never been a fan of CM Punk. Punk just drew the lowest rating ever for Rampage. Need I say more? Punk fans will hype any shit up. He sent everybody to sleep. And then there's a picture of Punk in the WWE. Does he have your attention now? Oh my god! Wow. Again,
WWE marks is like marking.
Yeah, but this is the type of marking even Matt Riddle is a part of now. You know what I mean? Like Matt Riddle had his mark moment. And he's not even a wrestler anymore. So he's definitely a mark now. Yeah, no, it's hilarious. Like the whole shift happening. Like it's okay to not like Punk, like Punk's character, but like nobody here like legitimately doesn't like his in-ring work. Like I don't think so. Like I mean, he provided us years of entertainment. So I mean, and he did that while not being like a 7-foot tall, roided up motherfucker. So I think that's also part of the. Some people believe wrestling died with Punk because Punk brought in the whole like skinny, no physique wrestlers, but that's been going on since like the 2000s, man. Like if you watch WWE back then, a lot of the talent they had back then, like in the 80s, was just like obese, overweight motherfuckers, dude.
A lot of big guys.
Oh,
They were into the
they,
real big guys, and that's the thing. It's like I think with Punk trying to point that out, like a lot of people were like noticing like that Vince wants a certain type of wrestler in the WWE, and that's how it was. And it's also during the PG era, and like everyone was tired of the watered down product, and it is kind of watered down still a little to an extent, but it's nothing compared to it was back then. And I
so
think with Punk coming into it, the mix and like actually doing the pipe bomb and everything actually blurred the lines between reality and a storyline.
so I have a theory, and that theory is that Punk is going to win the Royal Rumble. And
I
do you want to
I
know
don't know
why?
about that.
Do you want to know why I have that theory? Do you want to know why? Do you know what Punk's last promo in the company ever was? It
What?
was on an episode of SmackDown leading up to the Royal Rumble, where Corporate Kane came out and him and Punk had like an exchange. But like Punk
Hmm.
was saying, "I've done it all in this company. Look, the one thing I've not done is win the Royal Rumble." And I was like, I mean, he has. He really has done it all. He won tag titles, Intercontinental. I don't know if he won the U.S. title actually. Did he? Did Punk ever win the U.S. title? I don't remember.
I
He
don't
might have. He
remember
might have.
at
He
this
might
point.
have. Yeah. But and then he's
It's
won
been
both.
so
Yeah,
long.
he's won both championship belts. Um, he's won Money in the Bank multiple occasions.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, he Royal Rumble was like the one thing he talked like was like the. I guess like that's the one thing he wanted to get like finished with his career. So I don't know. He might do it, but I don't think the audience is gonna receive that well if he wins it. I really don't.
I think
I think they're gonna
honestly,
want. I think
I
they're
don't
gonna
think it's gonna be
want.
that.
I hope Rhodes doesn't win it again, though. Either.
I think that's gonna be that. I think because before Punk, I would have just told you it's either gonna be Gunther or it's gonna be LA Knight is gonna win that Rumble. But now with Punk back in the mix, I can see Punk going night one against Rollins at WrestleMania. I think it's a sure thing at this point because they're gonna hype that up for months on end for them. And Roman, I get to see that being the big mountain to climb is to get through the Royal Rumble, and they'll probably have Cody go through multiple odds and multiple obstacles to get through the Rumble, and have him win it, and have him finish the story at the WrestleMania 40. I think I can totally see that. I can totally see it playing out that way. So we'll see how it goes. But I can totally see that
Yeah.
playing out that way.
Or they could also do what they've done a lot recently, and that's just feed CM Punk Roman Reigns that early. You know what I mean? Like they could feed him CM Punk before WrestleMania, just to
Maybe.
elevate Roman even more, and then make Roman's loss even more significant at Mania. 'Cause like you said, I think Rhodes is going to finish that story. But goddamn, it is exhausting because like Roman has these prolific matches. He's like he's like a walking god amongst all the other wrestlers, right? He comes and goes as he pleases and things like that. But like I would definitely like to see those belts defended way the fuck more. Like
I
way the
agree.
fuck more, but it's like at the same time, like who else is there for this guy to squash? Like like Rhodes is gonna have to win this time around. Otherwise, it's gonna feel like there's no one who can squash him other than Brock,
Well,
which
that's
they
the
might
thing. Is
actually
like,
do.
how do you hype up Cody even more? It's by having him go from probably the early on in the Rumble and winning it, rather than the tail end like he was last year. Like you actually give him the obstacles. And how do you match a guy that like Roman that's considered God mode versus having someone else be other hyped up, someone that took on Brock Lesnar and beat him, and also won not one but two consecutive Royal Rumbles in a row now to go up against another man that's considered God mode. So like it's basically they're trying to hype up Cody to face off against Roman as two gods fighting each other
Like
at the
his
end of the
like
day.
his counterpart,
Yeah,
he's
because
like,
they want to make Cody
oh
the
yeah.
guy. They want to make Cody the guy
I you
eventually. How do
know
you make him the guy
I
by having him
mean,
win two Royal Rumbles in a row?
I, in my opinion, how you make Cody the guy is you gave him a stable, like give him two guys. Like I mean, Cody's great on the mic on his own, great in the ring. He does all of that very well. But right now, I just feel like it's like the Cody Rhodes and Friends show, you know. So it's like Cody. I think Cody Rhodes should have like an established trio of some sort. Like
He's got Jey Uso. He can
yeah,
get a
yeah, just
third
like
guy.
just two guys who I mean, I guess Because like Sami Zayn and Jey Uso aren't really like a stable with him. They're just his friends, right? They just show up.
Yeah,
And that has been getting a little bit repetitive, you know, where like
it has been getting repetitive.
where Cody comes out to the rescue every Monday night is just getting a little
6-man tag match against the Judgment Day every week.
Yeah, SmackDown's definitely the better booked show by far when you look at it that way. But I mean, now with CM Punk in the equation, that could change. That could change.
Yeah, he's supposed to show up on Nashville on Monday Night Raw along with Randy Orton, so it's going to be a pretty much watched show to see on Monday.
I just hope it doesn't. Yeah, no. Apparently, did you see CM Punk waving to Randy from the stage? By the way, when he
I saw that
camera, he waved, and Randy looked almost happy to see him back. Rhea Ripley was a little confusing. Her reaction was confusing because I saw a clip of her throwing the bird, but then there's another clip of her just smiling in the back. So I think it's a work. I think like even with Rollins, like they just told him, show the most aggressiveness you got in you. But you know, because if you're taking Michael Cole out there to hold him back, I'm like, what's Michael Cole gonna do?
not even just Cole. Yeah, what was it, Corey Graves, and you even had
what's neck tattoo crippled Corey Graves gonna do? You know, like, what the fuck?
Right.
What are these two assholes gonna do to hold him back? But I think it's because they did that because if you bring the security out, then it looks like a work. Because every time they bring security out, you're like, oh, it's a work, right? But right here, Rollins did it. Either Rollins did a very good job selling it, or there was some legit hatred there, and he was playing into that. You know, whatever Punk and Rollins have going on, we're gonna find out in the storyline, and we're gonna find out in the ring, because that's how you sell this stuff. I definitely gonna be tuning into Raw tomorrow. I have to find out what's going on.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So anyway. Now that we got the elephant out of the room, I'm glad we got to talk about Punk as much as possible because there's so much to dissect here, dude. You know, like wrestling's really entertaining right now.
It very much is.
Yeah. So let's move down the card of Survivor Series War Games, which was a pretty decent show in my opinion.
I thought it was honestly, I thought it was a great show. The only thing was missing was William Regal coming out and saying War Games at this point. So.
Yeah. Let's go down the full card. Let me get it in order because sometimes.
I'll drop you the link. Give me 1 second.
All right. Well, I have it right here on CBS, so we're good.
Oh, okay, got it. Oh yeah, see, I saw the same thing. Got it.
All right, okay. So, Damage Control, Io Sky, Asuka, Bailey, and Kairi Sane versus Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte Flair and Shotzi. Honestly, started off a little slow. All these War Games matches start off slow. That's the whole point. Once everyone's in the ring, then the match really starts, which is, I like it. I know it's a really cool concept. And they're a hell of a lot better than modern Hell in a Cell matches or modern Steel Cage matches. They get pretty brutal. And the women did a good job. There was moments of cringe though, Delta, I'm not gonna lie. Like I was with the chat, we were watching this, and you know, it's kinda like I want to like women's wrestling. I do. But then sometimes there's things like I think it was it Kairi Sane or Io. I think it was Io or Kairi. One of them, there's a spot where I believe Bailey was supposed to push Charlotte from behind, and Kairi was supposed to push Becky from behind, and they would both bump into each other because they were staring off. Mm-hmm. And in the middle of that moment, instead of switching spots to not make it look ridiculous, Kairi just like runs past Charlotte and Becky from the side and goes behind Becky in front of her. Becky does nothing about it. And then she pushes her, and I'm like, logic, hello! I was like,
with women's wrestling, it seems like it's like a spot fest for the most part. It seems like for the women's wrestling.
Yes,
you notice it more and more, especially when they have a group thing going on.
Yeah, it seems like they're running and they're stumbling to get to their spots, which are cool spots at times. There's a few cool ones.
They are.
But like it does feel like they don't seem to fill in those spots with like some proper like logical wrestling, you know, like I don't know, take them to the mat, you know, stomp a mud hole in him. I don't know, but there is a lot of laying around and stuff. I thought it was pretty cool where was it Kairi or Io? She put the trash can on herself on top of the cage.
That was Io Sky that did that. Yeah.
Io, yeah. I can't tell the difference. Oh, y'all look the same.
Oh man.
But yeah, no, she
First
jumped
episode.
off. When I saw the spot, I was like, "That's cool." And then later thinking about it, I'm like, "But how is that supposed to take out an entire group of people?" It's wrestling, Frit. Don't question it, Frit.
Don't question it.
Don't question it. Yeah. It was enjoyable. And I believe the winner of that one was Becky Lynch, right? Bianca and Charlotte won.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly,
Which honestly, I was kind of surprised by that because I figured it was gonna be Damage Control on that one. I really thought it was gonna be that play out that way, especially because they had that good moment with Io Sky jumping out with the trash can, which I think even then, like, yeah, you could say like it was stupid or anything, but it's kind of insane to blindly just jump off on top of a cell like that and still hope to God someone catches you and you land properly. That's kind of insane in my opinion.
well, I mean, like the whole spot is clearly for show, but like,
Yeah, but still. You're still jumping off a cell.
You know what I would do? I haven't seen this spot yet. I want to see two motherfuckers get on top of a cage, grab one of the tables, flip it upside down, hold it by like the legs, and then jump down from the cage with the table and just like crack that table on somebody down below. Yeah, don't that seem kind of cool in your head? Like that seems kind of cool. But put barbed wire on it to really like, I don't know, but like the whole trash can, it was just. Why not just throw the trash can at them down below? That's what I would do. I'm like, yeah, boom, and then jumped.
The trash can weighs less than half a pound. What are you talking about?
To be fair, so does Kyrie.
The wind would have caught that trash can.
She looked like a gust was about to take her away.
Right?
These women are so tiny. They're so tiny.
There's other good moments. For once, Charlotte Flair did her freaking moonsault off of the top corner and landed perfectly when she did her flip backwards flip.
Almost landed on her feet there for a second, but yeah.
Almost. Yeah.
I always thought Charlotte Flair had the most awful moonsaults in the company. They just look terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Charlotte's the biggest girl. They're the tallest girl. I'm glad this match could happen without us hearing, "I'm not like most girls," and who comes out and just ruins it all. The women put on a decent match. I would grade it. A B. I thought it was alright.
I'd say it was a lot better than I expected.
Yeah.
Especially compared to last year. Last year I thought it was pretty weak compared to this year's.
Really?
I thought this one was a lot better in my opinion.
Oh, the women's the women. Yeah, the women's match. Yeah. But last year I thought the men's War Games match was excellent. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was excellent last year. I thought this one was pretty tame compared to last year.
The next match happened exactly like I wanted it to happen. And that was Gunther squashing The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. Yes! Gunther's title reign must continue.
You thought that was a squash?
I thought that was a squash at the end. I
didn't think it was a squash.
I thought Miz got all the offense he needed in the beginning. Yeah, he had little moments where he gave the crowd hope, I guess. So I guess you're right. I guess it isn't a squash. Look,
we knew he was coming out. We knew Gunther was coming out. I didn't know why he's gonna lose the Miz of all people. There's no way to end that legendary title reign to the freaking Miz.
Little Mike, who's bullied by his heroes. Oof. I got Gunther. Damn, dude, Gunther's been a monster on the mic. Fuck him, kids, and screw you, Mike. I'm like, yay! I love Gunther as a heel. I love Gunther as a champion. He is honestly he's got this energy to him. He's just intense, and anybody who steps into the ring with him looks like $1 million. And he looks like $1 million. He looks like a fucking champion. He looks like a professional wrestler. And Gunther is the best at what he does in the ring, and that's make wrestling look like it fucking hurts. Unless it's against The Miz. You have to always be extra soft on The Miz. That's his rule. But anyway, so he beat The Miz. Here, let me actually read a real quick recap here. Miz tried for another skull-crushing finale, but Gunther grabbed a sleeper hold, which Miz countered by running Gunther into the exposed turnbuckle. Then reversing the sleeper into a pin for another near fall. Gunther came roaring back, hitting a top rope splash onto Miz's back, and then locking in a Boston Crab and driving a knee into the back to force the submission. See, that's where I felt was like pretty squashed because it was Miz didn't really fight the submission. It was pretty quick.
Well, I mean, when you have the knee on you, where else are you gonna go? At
I
that
know
point?
that's why I like Gunter. He makes it look like it fucking hurts, you know.
But like a squash means like Miz had no shot,
No
had
offense,
no
yeah, no offense,
rebuttal,
yeah,
nothing.
yeah.
You know.
Overall,
But
I mean, the people here give this one a B, but I give this one a C. It wasn't like a great match. It wasn't a bad match. It was just a match that was there to fill time, and so add just another body to Gunter's title reign. And it ended the way it should have. It was neither that entertaining, but it also wasn't boring or that bad. It was just okay. It was in between. It was like I'd give it a C. I don't think like they wowed me, but yeah.
I mean, I guess if you go by that standard, like I guess B would be the proper rating for me. It's just like because I don't know, like anytime Gunther's in the room, basically, and he's in the ring, he's like throws off like almost a damn near like 4-star match every time.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's just like every time he comes in there, he reminds everyone why he is in his position and why he deserves that Intercontinental belt and why he has elevated that belt basically to be just as prestigious as the World Heavyweight belt. So that's the thing too. Like it's I wonder really who is going to be the guy that eventually that takes that belt away from him.
Punk,
That or maybe he could.
Punk.
Maybe it could be that, or maybe he could just say, you know what, I did all I could do, and he vacates the title and he moves on to pursue
Stone Cold
the
style.
World Heavyweight. Yeah,
Stone Cold style. Yeah, I think that's
Who
what Stone
knows?
Cold did, right? Stone Cold vacated the Intercontinental belt because he wanted to go for the world title. Isn't that what happened? I don't remember.
It's been so long at this point for me. I have to look that up.
Yeah. But honestly, keep that belt on Gunter just another year. Like he just I can't think of anyone else who's worthy enough to hold that belt right now. In this company though, it's always been a popularity contest, but Gunter has managed to hold on to that title through his pure skill alone. They're like, oh, we have to keep the title on this guy, whether he's the most popular of our wrestlers or not, because he's just that fucking good. But you notice how they're too scared to feed him, like Cody. They're too scared to feed him like Kevin Owens. Oh wait, no, I think Gunter and Kevin Owens did fight for the belt.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did. Or they're not going to feed him the other top ones. But imagine if like Brock Lesnar comes out to the to a Gunter's Intercontinental Challenge. That would be fucking amazing, dude.
I think that's gonna be honestly the last big obstacle for Gunther, and maybe he could vacate for that point. I think it will be Brock Lesnar will be the last big obstacle to cement Gunther's legacy as the Intercontinental Champion, as the best Intercontinental Champion ever.
Yeah.
So to like take out the last big obstacle like Brock Lesnar, which for all we know that could be the WrestleMania match predicted in the future. Because I thought at first I thought it's either gonna be Gunther or LA Knight that's gonna win the Rumble before Punk came into the mix of things. Yeah. I figured Cody was a sure bet. He's going all the way to Roman no matter what. Now with Punk in the mix, you have to basically give the Rumble back to Cody. And I just think right now it's probably gonna be Brock versus Gunther. I think that'll be a banger match for WrestleMania, and that'll be the last big obstacle for Gunther before he decides what he'll pursue next. Yeah. So
I just want to see him leave Brock Lesnar's chest pelted as fuck. I just want to see him leave his chest all red and swollen. I have to see it. I have to see it because Lesnar loves to get beat up in the ring. He likes it. So So anyway, this next match, the placement on the card is weird for this match, but it happened anyway, and that was Santos Escobar versus Dragon Lee. And I feel for my boy Santos Escobar. I wanted him to go heel a while ago because he was getting shafted every single opportunity. My God, dude, he got so screwed out of the U.S. title. I legit felt bad for him, but at the same time, it's just kind of like, well, Santos, are you really cool enough to hold the title? Let's be real. Escobar went off the offense quickly, going for early pins before tossing Lee from the ring. Escobar then stuck Lee's leg between the ring post and steps, only for Lee to fight him off. This set Lee up to leap over the top rope to hit a Rana on Escobar from the ring apron, follow up with a big dive to the outside. Escobar would come back with a Rana on Lee. As the two men stood on top rope, securing a near fall, big moves continued to be exchanged as both men scored multiple 2 counts, but could not put the other away until Escobar hit a phantom driver to win the match. This is one of those matches that ranks as totally fine while also knowing that there is potentially so much more there should be. The two should be given time to deliver what they're truly capable of. Santos Escobar defeated Dragon Lee via pinfall. They give it a B-. I give it a C.
Yeah, I'd say so. I felt like I agree with him with that last part. I feel like this match should have went on a little bit longer. I felt like it was cut short. Both of them are very talented at what they do, and I think more time should. If you gave them more time, they would give you a stellar match. That's my opinion. I feel like it felt like it was a padded match, which sucks because they're two greatly talented. It
was a
talented
TV
wrestlers
match.
there.
I mean,
It
felt like a TV caliber match.
It felt like a match that you would put it like in the pre-show.
Yeah,
it felt like that.
Yeah, it did. And I mean, like, credit to both men. They did their best to make it work. They're professionals, but the audience was not into this one at all.
Yeah,
it was pretty dead silent out there. I was also quite surprised how little the audience was into the next match we're about to bring up. But it makes sense when you think about who the opponent is. And that is Rhea Ripley versus Zoe Stark. For the world... It was for the championship? I didn't even pay attention. They gave that chick a chance at the belt. Damn. A brawl immediately broke out between the two women, mostly focused on strikes until Stark hit Ripley with a drop kick that sent her from the ring. After regrouping, Ripley took over, hitting the big power moves and strikes as she grounded Stark. Stark tried to rally, but was met by kicks and knees from Ripley. Stark finally found something with a kick to Ripley's face for a 2 count. Stark countered Riptide into a suplex for another near fall. Ripley countered the Z360 before delivering a headbutt, and Riptide for the pinfall. Short to the point. With no surprises, though, Stark was given enough to come out of the match looking good. Rhea Ripley defeated Zoe Stark. I mean, we all expected. They give it a B. I give it a C.
Yeah, I say same. I would agree with that. C for that. It really all it did was just show Zoe Stark can hang with the top people if you really want to. But I mean, to be fair though, outside of Rhea Ripley, in my opinion, most of the women are pretty weak on the roster. Outside of Rhea and Charlotte, maybe, and Bianca, and I wouldn't even give Becky even that credential even these days.
No,
I think
man,
Becky gets a lot more credit than she deserves, if you ask me.
What's kind of crazy is how much Becky Lynch wants to wear these fishnet stockings and
I know
she wants so bad to show off a posterior she doesn't have, and meanwhile Bayley's all covered up and she has the nicest ass. I'm like, why? Nothing against Becky, but Becky is looking like a much older lady than she did a few years ago. I don't know if surgery, I don't know. But Becky's momentum is not where it was, and it's probably never going to get there ever again. Some people were calling her the female Stone Cold back then, which was crazy to me. I didn't think that at all, but her popularity was pretty high. What was it, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, when Nia Jax broke her face?
That's the only thing that Nia Jax ever did that was great in this whole entire company. She broke
Becky Lynch's face. It made her popular.
Made her popular. That's all it did.
I think it's crazy too because they had brought Ronda Rousey in and they wanted her to be the girl, and Becky Lynch getting her face broken made her more popular than Ronda, and so they had to put the strap on Becky. But I don't know. I think Becky fell short.
Now look where Ronda's at now. In her current state.
My god, dude! I don't even. Dude, oh god, poor Ronda, because she actually wanted to she wanted to be a wrestler growing up as a kid. This is one of her dream jobs, and Ronda's not too good at it.
Honestly, the only issue I have with Triple H so far running the company, the creative side of things, the only thing I find lacking on his side of creative is the women's division. He does such a good job focusing on the men's division. I think the women's division is lacking severely. And really kind of shows when you realistically you only have maybe two to four women out of a whole roster of women get the most focus on them. So yeah, I think that's the biggest criticism I have for Triple H running creative is that I think the women's division is severely lacking. I think Rhea Ripley elevates herself because she's a star, and just people Charlotte Flair. Like she's a star, whether I like her or not. She is a star. Same with Bianca. I may not like Bianca and like her stupid gimmick of her long hair, but she is still a star at the end of the day because she elevated herself by
Hey,
making herself.
she had 2 strands tonight, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, yeah, Becky Lynch is just, she was one of those girls, she was a star. Now I feel like she's just like below the star status. I don't really know where to classify Becky, but I feel like she's just kind of drifted to the mid card of the women's division.
Really has.
And that really sucks to see because I personally miss when Becky was never really on the mic. I miss when Becky came out with her steampunk gimmick. And she was just like a eye candy. Man, I had the biggest crush on Becky Lynch, like, before the rise in popularity and everything. Now, Charlotte Flair, she's the best female wrestler on this company. She deserves to be there, So, yeah. But as for Rhea Ripley is the women's wrestler right now. Okay, she has the stature, the imposing stature. She's sexy. She's good on the mic. She's good in the ring. The belt looks fucking great on her. She's in a great faction, a great stable right now. Has good storylines. Like, she is the only female wrestler I'm invested in. Legit, and that's probably because she hangs out with the boys.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
It's because she hangs out with the boys and the other female. Yeah.
And she actually can like roll with the punches in terms of like that, hang with the boys, and like she doesn't get like sick or grossed out by like for creepy ass fans that like try to like like basically want to be domed by her. You know what I mean?
She plays into it. She plays into
it. You know what I mean? It's like kind of like whatever. She knows her audience.
She's doing an excellent job. Probably one of my favorite female wrestlers in the last 20 years, bro.
Yeah,
I haven't had like
excellent.
My like the here if I were my favorite female wrestler of all time was always Mickie James. I fucking loved Mickie James. I thought she was fucking hot. But Lita, of course, super close second. Lita was fine as hell. But she was involved in a lot of entertaining storylines. She was like, even when she was a heel, when she was the Edge heel storyline, she was an excellent heel, a real life heel too. So and Rhea
Matt Hardy situation,
and I think that's what the other female wrestlers are missing is they're missing development like this. They're missing like moments where they look like fully fledged characters, like Rhea Ripley corrupting Dominic by giving him by popping his cherry. That was fucking great. Dominic was like this lovable child to Rey Mysterio. He's like, my son, and then along comes Rhea Ripley to fucking one time, and then Dominic is just like a bad boy now. It's great, China, we can't forget China.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy to me because like you said, like a lot of women back then we used to be part of like men's stables or something like that. I think people like Maxine Dupree, for example, have a lot of potential because they've shown how they can wrestle in the ring, and they are with a stable like with Chad Gable and Otis. So, like, I think back in the 90s, I think Alpha Academy would have been, like, a dominating faction back then.
I think Valhalla... not Valhalla.
Valhalla, yep, with the
Viking Raiders. She looks good with the Viking Raiders.
Yep.
She fits really well with that stable. And like you said, same with
Yep.
Alpha Academy. I think, like, the women's wrestlers people are actually invested in are the ones who are in factions with men, Because when they're with other women...
Yep.
Like, you want to see them fight other women. You don't want to see them be friends with the other female wrestlers. Kind of like with the male wrestlers.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see you rip each other's heads. I don't want to see you guys being friends. So, yeah. Anyway, now the final match of the night. And it was quite a good one too. Not as brutal as last year's, but it was still fun to watch, especially with everybody hitting Randy Orton's DDT. At the same time, that spot was cool. And that was Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, Dominic Mysterio, and JD McDonough versus Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, Jey Uso, and Sami Zayn. Now, there was promotional material that someone sent me. It doesn't mean anything, but in the original promotional material for this War Games match, LA Knight was on the card in the pictures. I don't know if that means he was originally going to be a part of this event and was pulled. But
I think it probably was that case. I think it probably was going to be LA Knight originally because LA Knight was not on the card at all, which is really weird to going from the crown jewel versus Roman Reigns. You have nothing for him at War Games for some odd reason. It makes no sense to me. So yeah, it probably was originally that case until they got the green light to allow Randy to compete. Then they switched up and had to try to wedge Randy in there somehow, to bring him back into the fold somehow into wrestling. So they figured, well, we'll get more tickets sold right now by having Randy come back to him being gone for like the last year and a half. Like, no offense to LA Knight. LA Knight's a great talent and he puts butts in seats and everything. But Randy Orton is a generational talent. And it's just what he is. Like, he's one of the greatest of all time. So, everyone's going to definitely show up for Randy's return a year and a half later.
Well, Randy Orton's popularity cannot be undermined. I mean, people who aren't even wrestling fans like Randy Orton,
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Randy Orton is memed. He's like an iconic meme. Like, when I was going to school, people were doing RKOs on each other and they didn't even watch wrestling. Oops, my bad. Yeah. Sorry for hitting the counter.
That's all good.
Yeah, but yeah, no, people do RKOs like Randy Orton. Was, I think, I mean, we were in Chicago, but even like Chicago fans knew Randy Orton wasn't the selling point, even though it was a big return, and I'm glad to see Orton back in the ring. He looks just as in great shape as ever. I mean, he was like the most shredded guy. Better. He was the most shredded guy there, so.
Yeah.
He's always been like one of the most shredded. Randy keeps himself in very good condition, and he genuinely looked really happy to be back because I think Randy.
I think he also signaled to the fans after the cameras went off. I think he signaled to the fans he plans to stick around for another 10 more years. He said,
"I hear voices in my head. They tell me to take a shit in someone's purse. They talk to me."
Wait, what?
You don't know about that?
No.
I think it was. I don't know who it was. Was it Booker T's valet? Someone's valet. Randy Orton took a shit in her purse or her bag because he was
what
pissed
the
at
fuck?
That. You don't know about that? That story?
No.
Oh, what Delta? Look at man. Randy Orton's a crazy guy, dude. Randy Orton's nuts. He like took a shit in her purse or her. I mean,
how do you do that? You just take your ass cheeks and press them against the bag or something like that? How do you do that?
Hold on. Let me look this up. Hold on. Let me find it. You're like, what? It's a true story. Hold on. Randy Orton. If I can find. He took in someone's gear bag. The voices in his head told him to do it, obviously. So, Randy Orton put something in someone's bag. It wasn't shit, though. At least that's what I found out. No. Someone. It was, Raquel Lowen? It's the first woman to come forward and speak about Randy Orton and his somewhat disturbing behavior towards women within the WWE locker room. She sat down with Chris Cash and Big Mike of the Voice Wrestling show. It was a poop prank that Randy Orton supposedly left in her bag. Her overall experience working for the WWE. So, she's not what? Oh, it was just merely self-tanning lotion and baby oil. Okay. So so it wasn't a real shit. I swear I read a story that it was a real shit, but I guess it wasn't.
Either way, let's get back to the topic.
Anyway, yeah, so back to the topic at hand. Anyway, Dominic Mysterio, I think he played his role the best in this match. He was just there to get his ass kicked.
Especially being the last guy to come out. I was like, really? When I had Dominic be the last guy? I'm like, okay, he's gonna get his ass kicked.
Drew McIntyre, wow, he joins Judgment Day and he's still a loser. I'm just like, fuck, dude.
And he stormed out of the ring before Punk came out. So like it's like you definitely can tell that they're playing his character up even more. That he's pissed off. I really do like his arc though. I really do like his arc a lot because it's good long-term booking right there on that part.
Because Drew McIntyre, honestly, like I would be a heel if I was Drew McIntyre after everything that happened to me. I'd be like, fuck this, I'm a heel now.
Yeah.
Although, if he's a heel, he should stop coming out with the Claymore sword, because that kind of makes him seem a little baby-face.
Yeah, I don't know why he should just go back as the Scottish psychopath and everything. Come back as that, like, at this point.
Yeah, the Scottish psychopath. Remember, I remember when he had like a rivalry with Matt Hardy. He like stomped on Matt Hardy's head on the steel steps, and it looked pretty. It looked pretty brutal. They sold it very well, and then him and Matt Hardy had like a pretty brutal rivalry back in the day. It was great. I mean, the thing about Drew McIntyre is he hits hard and he hits stiff, and it looks good in the ring. And he's an imposing, intimidating figure, but there's just something about Drew that just doesn't really take off, you know? Like, he looks like a wrestler, sounds like one, but I'm just not that invested in his character, and I'm thinking maybe he should be, like, and that's why they put him in this stable, right, with Judgment Day. But I have a feeling it might all just be, like, Drew's my secret plan to take out the entire Judgment Day. Like, you know, he's just going to take them out one by one while he's within their faction. You know, that might happen. Because, I don't know, it's just... do you think it's like Drew McIntyre's character to be with Judgment Day? Although it is cool to see.
I can see it.
Yeah. Because he was with 3MB, right? He was with 3MB, wasn't he?
I just think, like, he's, like... At this point, he was willing to work with anyone to get revenge on the people that did him wrong. Especially given his current arc at the moment, it would make sense for him to join the Judgment Day. I think it would not even just be the Judgment Day. Anyone that has it out with, you know, Jey Uso, because, like, it's not just, you know, Drew McIntyre bringing it up. Obviously, Kevin Owens brought it up. Sami Zayn brought it up. It's all about, you know, they're actually doing long-term booking for not just, you know, certain wrestlers. Every wrestler, every action actually does matter for once. It's not inconsistent like it was during Vince's era, you know. Mm-hmm. So everything does matter. There's a history there. They brought it up even with the women's division with Charlotte and Becky. It's like they actually are doing long-term booking and actually showing that there's consequences to their actions for once.
Yeah, so. It's interesting because under Vince McMahon's booking, it was like two characters were like on the verge of killing each other, and then a few months later they're in a tag match like friends, you know? Kind of like John Cena and Randy Orton, you know, when like Randy Orton punts John Cena's dad's head, and then they're shaking hands backstage, like when Cena thought he was gonna be fired in a promo, and I was like, what? Aren't those two like supposed to like hate each other? you know? Mm-hmm. So like under Vince McMahon's booking, there was no consistency. But under Triple H, there's quite a bit of consistency. It's not perfect, right? You know, with this match, I would say was chaotic. But it was also a bit of a spot fest too. It's in of itself, but I think the men did a better job utilizing both sides of the ring. I was rooting. Not gonna lie, I was rooting for the Judgment Day to win.
I honestly thought it was gonna play out that way.
I was rooting for the Judgment Day to win because it's like, all right, you just got Drew McIntyre's debut on the Judgment Day is another loss. Finn Balor, another loser. These guys are holding the belts and they're losing. You know, I'm like, come on, dude. Like, I don't know. It doesn't make Judgment Day look good when they're holding onto the women's championship, the cruiserweight, the tag titles, and they're fucking losing, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, granted, they're fighting Rhodes, Rollins, Randy Orton, Jey Uso, and Sami Zayn. That's, you know, that is a lot to deal with, especially if like one of your people is Dominic Mysterio.
I think honestly, a lot of it hinged on Punk's return tonight. I think if Punk did not return tonight, I think Randy Orton would have turned on the team. I think he would have. I think that would have played out that way, in my opinion, because the long-term booking is like people like Randy Orton do not just forgive people that screwed him over and put him out of business for a year and a half.
I thought he would have punted Jey Uso in the head or something. You know, like
I thought something was gonna happen. That's why I was sitting there wondering. It's like after he kind of like didn't really go after him, and like he was alluding to that he was gonna do it, and then he decided to pull back and not do it. And I was like, huh, that's really weird. It's not kind of like Randy Orton. I don't know why he's like that.
You just like me. And that's why we started this podcast. You just like me. Yeah. That's what I was saying in the Discord to everybody when we were watching it. We had like 15 people watching it. in the Discord. And
Yeah, and unfortunately, I couldn't attend last night.
yeah,
Unfortunately,
yeah. Delta usually always joins. Like, there's, sometimes Delta will actually take a week off to watch make it in time to watch a pay-per-view because, his job is just that awesome. But
yeah,
in the call, I was telling people that's not very Randy Orton like. I was like, Randy doesn't forgive.
yeah, and I'm sure, like Randy was told by Hunter, like especially them being so close together. I'm pretty sure he told him like heads up, like yeah, we're gonna do this last minute real quick.
But
So
Randy himself though has his comeuppance in mind though. He's got his comeuppance in mind. He's gonna get his.
oh yeah,
Because that's how wrestlers are. Like,
Mhm.
especially who is it? Roman Reigns is notorious for his comeuppance back. Like if you hurt Reigns, if you stiff shot him, he's gonna remember and he's gonna get you back hard. So yeah, and again, like you said, this is interesting because it looks like WWE doesn't even need their champion to have standout pay-per-views, and I'm blown away.
That doesn't that makes you wonder though. Now with Randy and Punk back, it makes me really wonder how Roman's gonna react when we do eventually see him back again.
Right now we have wrestlers that the audience cheer for harder than Reigns, but to be fair, Reigns is a heel, so that's to be expected.
Yeah.
But I think Reigns, like, the belts look great on Reigns. Like, he looks like a champion, walks like a champion, but his matches have not been of high caliber lately. I think Reigns has had to step back a bit because he's his health and everything. And to be real with you, I wouldn't really want to see Punk as a champion in this company for a while. What I want to see Punk do is just have great matches with people and great, promos.
That's what I want.
Great exchanges,
Yeah.
just great exchanges. Punk needs to work his way back to the belts, but Hunter thinks with money in mind. He's booking very well, so we'll see.
I think what Punk wants, I don't think Punk really wants the belt. I think Punk just really wants to be the main event of WrestleMania, and I think that's probably what was in his contract. And I really do believe that's how it's going to play out with Punk versus, it's going to be Rollins versus Punk night one. I really think that's how it's going to play out. And I don't think it matters if Punk wins the match. I think he just wants to be there for the main event.
You think Rollins is going to lose the belt before Mania?
I don't think so. I think it would have been the case before Punk got the job, got on. I was thinking he was going to lose the belt, and someone else is going to get the belt before then. I really thought it was going to play out that way. I thought
I thought
Gunther was
going to
get the belt eventually by WrestleMania with he'd take over the World Heavyweight belt. I thought that we were going to see the reigns of Gunther, but now with Punk back in the mix, it's things have changed up completely.
I really thought. They had me convinced for a second Rollins was going to lose the belt tonight when Ripley came out with the briefcase. But here's the thing. When it comes to rules in WWE, they just don't seem to make sense. I guess Rhea could come out with Damien's brief and cash it in for him. I didn't.
Yeah.
That was a little weird. I always thought you were supposed to cash it in yourself, but anyway. She goes out to cash it in for him, and that's when Randy Orton came out. And yeah, I mean, it would have been really, really cool to have seen Damien do the curb stomp to Rollins on the briefcase and this time around.
Yeah,
use his own move on him, and then actually get the belt off of him. But I mean, right now, Judgment Day's holding on to a lot of gold, so it's gonna be a while before we see that. I don't think we're ever gonna see the belt on Priest.
I mean, it would have been. Honestly, I think it would have been a brilliant move on their part.
It would have. Imagine if
what better way than having a no disqualification area where your entire team can help you out and destroy Rollins, and then all of a sudden you get the belt too on top of winning the match.
Yeah,
I mean that's.
Well, here, how would that have worked? Would it the WWE Championship just been added to the stipulation, or would have been 2 matches?
I think so. I think it would have.
It would have been so cool, if the cash-in went through, and then the stakes were raised, But I don't think they want to throw away the briefcase that early yet. I think, man, if they're really putting all their money behind Priest, what if he cashes it in on Punk? after he beats Rollins at Mania.
It could be that. It could be that.
Bro, that would
It could
do
be
the
it
heat.
could work it. He could do what what's his name did. You know what I'm talking about. Who was the Jagoff from last year? They got the belt, the briefcase. You know what I'm talking about? Theory. When
yeah,
Theory did,
yeah.
he could go after Gunther and take his belt. You know, for all we know, who knows at this point?
Yeah, no. I don't know, but you know, the possibilities are endless now because this company has just done a great job of getting itself out of the rut it was stuck in the mid 2010s.
Yeah,
I will say,
it was
like,
the
I don't know,
worst period.
ever since we entered the 20s, WWE's improved a bit. Well, a bit, and now it's drastically improved under Hunter. But man, the dark days are long past us, and I'm really glad about that. Because back then, folks, keep in mind, back then we were getting stuck with like main events like Fit Finley versus Snitsky or some shit, you know, or
Yeah.
we were getting stuck with like we were getting stuck with things like Undertaker versus Big Daddy V, Batista versus Khali, you know, Cena versus JBL. Like, actually, the Cena versus JBL wasn't a bad
Yeah,
match.
so the scene with JBL was
Yeah, no,
wasn't bad
actually,
match
yeah,
at all.
Cena versus JBL was actually really good.
I
yeah.
think the worst time was when like we had like a computer as a GM
Oh my
basically, and
god!
we had
The anonymous Raw general manager. That shit was terrible.
we had random celebrities coming in as GMs almost every
Oh,
month.
when they brought in Bob Barker, I was like, oh boy.
Yeah,
The
that's to
Muppets
show you
came
how
in, ZZ Top.
creatively bankrupt this company is at that point.
Dude, it was WWE was I think at its lowest point during that period for me. Occasionally they gave you cool stuff, like they gave you, you know, Batista versus Rey Mysterio in a steel cage match on SmackDown. They did that when they turned Batista heel, but man, they had a very limited roster during that era. It's kind of
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to like look back and just see how like small the roster was in comparison to what we have now. Now it feels like we have like a potential star and so many people. Like one of these guys just feels like they're about to break out and help wrestling like restore some popularity to it again. Because I mean, wrestling has been on a decline forever, and
I would say with Triple H's leadership, it's really shown that he's actually willing to allow people to become stars, which it felt like under Vince. It just felt like he didn't want to have another star without it being manufactured. And you could argue that still with Roman, but like I think Roman really kind of came into his own with him becoming heel. And I think a lot of people wanted that for the longest time. I personally did. I thought when he was entering his NXT run, I thought he was better as a heel than he was as a face when he came to the main roster. It made no sense, and he was very wooden, and he really didn't really allow to become himself until he became a heel again. So
honestly, like when he told them, "Give me the belt and let me run with the company," and they're like, "Okay," and he pulled it off. I think he pulled it off very well.
yeah, he has.
The whole bloodline storyline with Sami Zayn was some of the best wrestling storylines we've seen in like 20 years. Like, other than like Punk versus Cena, which was a very good storyline. I think that's what people come back for when it comes to wrestling. Not because they think it's legit or real. I don't even think it's also like the in-ring action all the time either. I think it's just like the investment in these characters because you know they're characters. And so I'm glad. I'm glad. Overall, though, for this match, I would give it a B. I thought it was solid. I definitely was more invested in last year's match because of this ongoing storyline. This one doesn't feel like it really has much of an ongoing storyline other than these guys beat each other up every week on Raw, and I feel like they're still going to do that after this.
Yeah, because the thing is, like the last year had an ongoing storyline with the Bloodline. This is just feels like a Raw or a SmackDown match, just like times 10 in terms of like what we see every week. Because it's the same people we see almost every week,
Every fucking
outside of Randy
week.
Orton.
Listen,
It's like versus like the Bloodline was actually had a good storyline back the last year.
I'm sorry, you know, a lot of people, newcomers to this channel, you're going to probably hate hearing me say this, but I can't stand Seth Rollins. I can't stand Seth Rollins, and I don't think I can stand Finn Balor. It's just, it's not that they're bad people or anything like that. It's just like Rollins is just, other than his entrance, he does nothing for me. His matches I feel like I've seen every Rollins match in the book, and they've all played out the same. Like Cody Rhodes, he adds a little twist of things every week. Randy Orton, well, he's been the same for 20 years. Jey Uso, upcoming star with a lot of hype. That yeet shit is getting over with the fans. Sami Zayn, need I say more? Massively over
Sami's
with the fans.
Great.
Yeah. Finn Balor, dead in the water. Damian Priest, far more popular than Finn Balor. Ouch. Drew McIntyre, dead in the water. Dominic Mysterio, fucking hilarious. I like him. DJ McConnell, I don't even know who that was. I don't even know who that was. But overall, they all did great. And that was what closed off the show, along with CM Punk coming out, which we already covered. So, other than that, overall, what do you give this show, Delta?
I would say it's a solid B overall. I'd say the War Games, like I told you last night, my main complaint with the War Games matches themselves, there was not enough tables at all.
Yes!
That was like my main complaint. The whole thing, I was like, man, I just wish there was more tables. And the fans wanted it too. The fans were cheering for it and wanted it. And I agree with the fans on that one. There should have been more tables.
I love when like the ring is littered with like tables, trash can lids, chairs.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it just looks right, you know? It just looks good. But it was interesting because like Sami Zayn goes, like before he goes inside, I thought there was the way Sami Zayn entered the cage was very clever, actually. I thought they pulled that off very well. Like, they all came after him as he was trying to step into the cage, and, like, he slams the door on their head, pulls one of their arms between the ropes. Like, it was good. And then he pulls out one table, and I was like, yeah! And then he goes in. I'm like, oh, you're not going to pull out four more? Pull out four more!
I was hoping for a couple more. When he came out with that one.
I was hoping for the entire ring to be littered with like debris and shit. And
I remember a lot more. I don't know about you, but I remember a lot more tables last year with the War Games matches. And like I remember like Sammy like doing like slams on like piles of chairs and shit like that. Like I don't remember seeing that many this time around.
Well, the War Games last year was a lot more brutal.
Yeah, it was.
It was a lot more brutal. And this War Games was it was okay in the violence department, but so it does feel like people like Dominic Mysterio just like I don't know, like Dominic Mysterio just he's a part of this faction, but most of the time he was like in the corner of the ring. Damian Priest was the star of his team, I would say that, and Jey Uso, also the star of his team. Absolutely the star of his team. And I think of all of these guys, the one who's going to have the biggest future is, well, Cody Rhodes is going to have one of the biggest futures. I think Damian Priest will have a pretty decent future. Dominic Mysterio! People sleep on him. I know he's not that great in the ring, but I think this guy is going to really shape up to be one of the most memorable of all time. He gets it. He gets how to work his heel gimmick. But what's gonna happen when like they're like this company tells him, all right, we don't want you to be a heel, now we want you to get over. I wonder, do you think he'll be able to do that? I don't know. Anyways, we're gonna wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning into our little podcast here. We're gonna be doing these weekly. I'm gonna be uploading other forms of wrestling content. You know, I was actually talking to the chat in the Discord, and we're like, all right, what if we make a 5 wrestlers who were never face, and then 5 wrestlers who were never heel type of videos, short 5-minute little ones, spice things up. Delta here would probably have lots of clever video ideas for me to throw out, so consider Delta the booker of this channel. Delta is the booker, I'm the promoter. And we hope you've enjoyed our company. We enjoyed yours. All right, Delta. Anything to say to all the people before we end this?
No, just thank you guys for staying all the way to the end. I appreciate it.
Yeah. This is Delta's first YouTube show ever that he's ever been a part of. So he wasn't even nervous. He was comfortable. You know how long it took for him to get here?
It took a couple episodes, at least on a couple streams with you.
All right, everybody. Have yourselves a good night, morning, evening, and we will see you at the next event. Bye-bye.